Yes, that is correct. You got Sweeping the Country. I'm Derek Walker. My co-host, none other than Mr. Jimmy Carter. Hey, Jimmy.
Hello, hello, hello. Boy, I would love to try to avoid politics. And the only other subject, because when you get together with anybody,
Yeah.
it seems that politics is the predominant thing that you talk about. But if you don't do that, it seems like you're talking about sports.
Yeah, that's another
And
common.
those
Yeah.
two subjects, if you didn't have those two subjects, I don't know what you would
Well,
talk
there's
about.
only
So,
one other subject, Jimmy, and that is the weather.
well, that's true. People do, yes, that does come
A
up, and
little
we
bit.
are at
Yeah,
a
a little bit.
changing time of the year for the weather and the super moon and all that stuff. And and in the southern part of the country, it's like 80 degrees in the day and
Yeah,
40 at night. It's kind of crazy
it is
weather
crazy.
we're having going on.
No doubt about it.
Well, not to, I don't really want to stay in the political vein because it is sort of depressing, but uh, it wasn't a real off-year election situation. It was just the next year election. So there weren't many things going on. There were some referendums in different states. You had a
Yeah.
governor's race in Virginia and New Jersey,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you had the mayor of New York City and a mayor of several other cities around the
Yeah,
country.
the New York mayor thing was a bit in the forefront. I mean, we had a bunch
That
of
was definitely pushed out there, but there
yeah.
was never any really no one that I ever heard thought he was going to do anything but win
Yeah, I think that's
because the
fair. Yeah.
Republican candidate was pitiful.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Curtis, I mean, he
Right.
didn't have a chance of winning,
Yeah.
and then Cuomo failed the
Yeah.
Democratic primary, running again. People don't do that, so they had they had no choice. So with no choice, you would think that people would stay home, but in this case, they did not stay
Yeah.
home.
Wow.
They
True.
went out because they were promised a lot of free stuff,
Mm-hmm.
free buses, free this, free that, free that. And we'll see if that happens. I don't know how that's going to happen or what they're going to do when they don't get the free stuff, but
Right.
that's
Right.
how that is. And this whole socialism thing, I mean, it's never worked anywhere. I mean, so fine, maybe somebody can try it and get it done, but it's pretty scary at the
It
end of the
is.
day because we're changing the one thing that I think, and I don't want to be the first one to jump off the cruise ship into the lifeboat, but I do think that Trump's presidency is in trouble in a lot of ways.
Okay. Go.
The Supreme Court, they sounded like they might rule against him on this tariff thing, and everything he's done seemed like it's based on being successful with those tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they might rule against him, saying that he needs to go to Congress to get approval on a lot of this
It
stuff.
is possible. Yeah.
The presidency has been, in recent time, pretty weak deal. I mean, they can do something. They can pardon. That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's been questioned about Biden with the auto pen. They can do some things. There's really no control on them about starting a nuclear war, by the way.
Yeah, man.
That's there's no approval on that. They just, if it comes up, they get into it and all our systems click in. That's a great movie, by the way, A House of Dynamite. If you
I
haven't
watched
watched
it. I did watch it.
it's something, isn't it?
It's
I mean,
really interesting, and
sobering is what it is.
it is sobering. I have thoughts of why it's controversial, and they're neither here nor there. I mean, making the United States seem weak and depicting that in a movie. Maybe
Well,
maybe
I
that's
mean,
the
it
case.
makes
I don't know.
whether we are or whether we aren't, is that we do have real people with families
Oh yeah, like
and
yeah,
things going on. And, there have always been movies about, the fail-safe system and whether the guys, that's why they have two people down in a silo to
yeah,
turn the
that's
key.
right. That's
Because
right.
you don't know if one or the other, and one's got a gun, they can point at the other guy. I mean,
That's why they have the football. I mean, that's why they have because
and
they.
that's why all that
Yeah,
stuff. So
yeah.
it's not a 100% system because they're real. It's not computer. It's human beings.
Yeah, but yeah, if
So,
you haven't seen it, it's a good movie, and I thought it was unique how they did it. How they did like
yeah, three different viewpoints. I wish I had known that going in.
yeah, it was a little
I
hard
didn't
to
know what they were doing,
I
but
didn't
three
either.
different viewpoints of the story.
And about what 30 minutes each, and
Yeah,
they
something
go
like
back
that,
and then
that
they
it
play it
ends.
again. Yeah,
But you've got that story that's got people in a tizzy. You've got Trump and the tariffs that people are just confused about and haven't really. I mean, I think people have been okay. Well, we don't understand this, but okay, okay. We just see a lot of fighting between people who used to be our friends, like Canada and even Italy, because we're about ready to get. Well, we were talking about this once before, back many years ago, when Patrick Buchanan was a CNN talk show host and a course an opinion writer for some of the Washington things. He was on the right side, not correct meaning right meaning Republican
Right.
right side, and he was all about protectionism, about the country is just about us. Let's take care of us, and then we'll take care of other people, which can be a very popular thing to go with. I think Trump ran on a lot of that, make America first, and all that stuff. But we're so interconnected with everybody in the world, there's some question about you can't just walk away from everybody in the world. And so remember what we've got here in this country. You've got at least 30% of the people that if you put a tree stump out there and said it was who you're supposed to vote for the Republicans, they're going to vote for it.
Yeah. Okay,
If you put a tree stamp out there for the Democrats, 30% or so are going to vote for it. So that's 60%.
Yeah.
You've got another 40% out there, and I think it's even more like 40 and 40. And there's 20% out there that's independent. And I think the independents, and we're not at the midterm elections yet, but I think the midterm people are getting kind of squirrely about Trump and these tariffs. If the Supreme Court blows them up or comes up with something where they're not going to be what he thinks they're going to be, that's a mess, because I paid nearly $30 for lunch today, and I was paying about 15 or 18.
Sure.
And so everybody's bills are going up, and the only thing we see going down is gasoline. And the whole theory was everything runs on gasoline. And that is true. That's why all the wages went up. That's why everything went up, because Biden let the gas go up to whatever he went up, nearly $5. But once you jack up all these employees to catch up with your dog chasing its tail, and you're never going to catch it. So we raise the rates on everything, raise the employees' pay on a lot of fast food and all this other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not going down.
Right.
Once it's there, it's there.
Right.
And it's not going to go down.
And those are really those are really two different things. I mean, you think about the minimum wage raise, that was going on several years back, right? And we all talked about it then. If you're going to pay somebody, and no offense to anyone, I would gladly do it right now. If you're going to pay somebody to flip burgers $20 an hour, the burger is not going to remain $1.99.
Right. It doesn't work.
Right.
And so, but even then, I went to a McDonald's the other morning, and someone didn't show up for work. I think they're not running with that many people in there anyway.
That's also true. You're right, yeah.
But I know one place I went, I had to go to a second McDonald's because the other one was totally screwed up.
Wow.
There were 2 people working in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I don't know if they're just refusing to pay, a decent wage, because in these suburban locations, people that need to work for that kind of job and that kind of salary, they have no public transportation. They can't get to your location.
That's also true.
So I don't know how they work all that out, because they can't afford to live in the area where these suburban locations are.
That is true. And typically, I remember growing up, I had a bunch of friends that mostly kids, worked at that type of place. And there was always a manager or a couple people that were older that were in charge. But we were all high schoolers, man. We were, riding our bikes or whatever to get there. Our parents dropped us off.
Our moms or dads took us and picked us up from these. I worked in a warehouse.
Yeah, there you go.
And mom and dad either took us and picked us up after that. But I mean, then we rolled enough to drive ourselves eventually. But that didn't happen. But there's just the inflation thing. It's James Carville. I don't know that he invented the term, but when he said it's the economy, stupid.
Oh, yeah.
It's still so true.
It is.
And I don't know that Trump has figured that out completely yet, because he's up there, he's isolated. He's with a bunch of people who are what I call hinge heads that just, yes. No one stands against him, or they get, sent to the gulag and fired or whatever.
Right.
So he's got a lot of hinge heads around him. And he doesn't have anybody that's talking sense on some of this stuff. Some of it is just optics. He makes a mistake with optics.
Yeah, yeah.
The East, I understand why he tore down the East Wing of the White House, because if he'd have gone through the regular way, it would have never been built by the time he gets out of the presidency.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be sitting in committee screwing around and doing all this. I get that. The same way with the tariffs. He took the bull by the horns and started doing it and said, I have the right to do this, and da 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 da. Same way with, dealing with this Venezuelan thing, shooting boats out of the water. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people do. So you start running into, being a cowboy, and I'm all for people, but I like cowboys.
Yeah,
and
I'm a fan.
I like the Rambo type thing, but if the right person's doing it. But in his case, I mean, if he's trying to stop drugs and blowing up drug boats, hey,
Great.
I'm all
Yeah,
in on that.
let's do that. Yeah.
But then you've got your independence. Do we want to be in a war in Nigeria? Do we want to be in a war in Venezuela? I mean, is that the best way to do this? There just doesn't seem to be a consensus that we've all had a public debate and agree that this is the best way to do this and this is the best way to do that.
Well, and
because
you're right.
we've got people up there that are so bad, like Schumer
Mm-hmm.
and Elizabeth Warren, and on the right side, Mitch McConnell on the Republican side, and some of these other people, and they're just yeah.
Right.
And people are tired of that. They don't trust them anymore.
Well, it's funny because you just said something that struck a nerve with me, and you said if we could sit down and and talk about what's the best way to do something, and that has been, I think, the problem with this presidency. There's no talking about it. They're not going to talk to the right's not going to talk to the left's not going to talk to the right. They feel like, I think the only way to get it done is to just do it, because there's no
Right.
middle
No,
of
there's the old thing of I'll ask. I'm not going to ask permission. I'm going to ask forgiveness.
forgiveness. That's right. Yeah, and I
And
think that's where we're at. Yeah.
And that's where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
And I think these elections were never going to be won by the Republicans, but with the government shutdown, which Republicans are getting blamed for,
Right.
whether that's, you can say, well, they shouldn't be blamed for it because if the Democrats came over and did this and did that, okay, I get that. But, still, you're the people in charge. It's like the buck stops here. You're there. You're responsible for it. And I
Right.
think Trump has taken too big of a laissez-faire kind of approach to this government shutdown because he wants less government. He wants this. He wants that. That ain't the way. I don't think, it's starving out poor people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I just don't, I think people are not happy with this. And
Well,
I'm
the
afraid
reason-
that it's going to be hard to put Humpty Dumpty back because there, too many things. Now, he does the deal about distraction. You notice that?
Yeah,
He
sure.
comes up with things to distract you from the current thing that's going on. And the Democrats, will you please get off this Epstein thing?
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
number one, that should be just in the past. He's dead. The woman's in prison. Some of the victims are dead. I don't know what does somebody want from this
I'm not
that they haven't
sure.
already gotten? I don't understand.
I'm not
We
sure.
want
and
the
if-
truth. We want the truth. What is the truth
No,
exactly?
nobody's going to get that. No, nobody's.
What
gonna,
is the truth?
Nobody's going to
Did-
get it.
did-
We won't know if
Did
we
Epstein
do.
got killed? And all these people just seem to die. I mean, I don't get it. But anyway, that's just talk about distractions. That's a huge one.
Well,
But-
what I'm thinking about while you're saying all this, and yeah, I want to know if Epstein hung himself or he was killed by, whatever theories they have and stuff like that. But in the meantime, there's a hole in the bottom of the boat. And
Yeah.
we're over here.
I mean, that's all fine. I guess
right.
I want to know about the Kennedy assassination.
I do too.
If someone's ever going to admit
I
that
do
there was a
too.
conspiracy to kill him.
But let me
They're
ask
not
you.
going to ever admit that.
Right. Let me ask you a question. If your house was on fire right now and you were reading about how the Kennedy assassination really went down, would you leave your house that's on fire, or would you
I'd
keep
still be
reading?
leaving the house.
Yeah, so
I'd
would
come
I.
back. I'd get back when you have
Right.
time.
Right.
It's just like all
Priority,
that stuff.
yeah.
And that's why the House of Dynamite is so effective because
Wow.
because it's just, we are 16 minutes away from the end of the world.
It's interesting because I watched that movie with 3 people, and we stopped it at the end. And I don't want to give away the end, but
Yeah.
we stopped it when it was over. and we looked at each other and we said, "What would you do, or what would you have done?"
You don't. Well,
That's a tough.
you meaning what?
Just
Meaning
if you were the president, what would you have done? Right? That's a rough call, man. I mean,
with one thing coming and
not
you
knowing,
don't know who it's coming
right,
from and all this stuff.
And I got something. I got a theory on that, but it wasn't popular. And it just watch the movie, everybody, if you haven't watched it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to. Yeah, I don't even want to speculate on that because you would mess it up.
Yeah,
but I definitely. And then I watched another movie. By the way,
which one?
I don't ever do this. I was tooming around. I'm mad about YouTube TV being off too because that's making me crazy.
It cut ESPN.
It's making me nuts, and it's Disney has paid so much money for the rights to college football and every other thing they bought. And they need the money, so they're going to extort it out of everybody until we have to pay for it. And it's just it is what it is.
It's frustrating.
It's very frustrating. But I was looking down the list on YouTube TV, and I came up on I believe Turner Classic Movies.
Okay.
And it was the movie 7 Days in May.
Don't even
know it.
And
it's a classic film from 1964 with Kirk Douglas and Burt Lancaster.
Great actors.
And boy, is it a great film.
Okay.
And it's about the Joint Chiefs of Staff are not happy with the president who they see as weak because he signed a disarmament treaty with the Russians. So he's a very powerful Joint Chief, popular war hero.
Yeah.
And he's going to do a coup and take over the country. And they figured out how to do it. With, how to get the president and make him kidnap him, and they had it all figured out.
And what year was the
1964?
Wow!
And it's a great.
So this
film.
has been going on a long time.
So yeah, and then there was another one called Fail Safe, and that was another one about here the bombers. They're getting to the point of no return, which is fail safe.
Yeah.
And do you turn them around or do you stop them? This theme and this story has been around ever since World War II.
Fair enough. The way it's told, though, is unique.
It is unique. That. It's great, and it's realistic, and they really went to a lot of trouble to make it look right. But you got, the fear of war. Nobody wants to go to war.
No, nobody does.
But drug things. I've been wondering why for years we haven't, fought them more aggressively. But so you got that going on. You still got Ukraine going on. You've got, the high price of all kinds of things. You've got people that can't afford to live in cities. There's a big survey out of people in Florida, and it was an interesting percentage of people who are thinking about leaving Florida that live there because they can't afford to live there.
Too expensive?
Because the property taxes are going up, their house values are going up, and the property taxes are going up with them. Yeah. They're on a fixed income. They can't afford to be there.
They're also seeing an increase there in homeowners insurance.
Yeah.
Because of the catastrophe. So that's another cost, that I'm sure they're weighing.
Yeah, there's
there.
people that can't afford it, and there's just a lot of stuff going on with the economy, with the cost of groceries, with the cost of everything, and then there's AI coming, and that's laying off people in middle management.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Progress is costing. Go look at every day. It's 500. Here's one here. 500 jobs for Frito-Lay in Orlando, and then Disneyland was taking off a couple of hundred. I mean, there's thousands at Target that are getting whacked and thousands at Amazon. So there's a lot of people that are going to have to be sacrificed for artificial intelligence, just like they were sacrificed during the horse and buggy ending in those eras and stuff like that. So it's a transitional time for the human beings.
I think it's an interesting time to be alive. I mean, you can say it's frustrating, and I agree, and it's scary and all those things, but it's kind of interesting. At least we have something like the three-eye atlas. The aliens also going to be here. I think it's in November, right? Is that November?
I don't know. I haven't got my appointment with them. I don't.
But it is interesting.
I'm not scared of them. I like aliens.
I do too. I think they're going to be fun.
Do you see where flights are going to be cut 10% in 40 markets?
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is coming if they got to get this government shutdown over with.
They do have to end it, yeah.
It's the extreme wing of the Democratic Party that just got a boost of adrenaline. So I guess they're just going to keep the government closed, till further notice. That's just bad. I mean, it's bad for the Democrats. It's bad for the Republicans. It's bad for the country. And it's just not a good, smart thing. So we'll see now that the elections are over with if somebody can negotiate. I don't know what they're supposed to do about the Obamacare thing doesn't work, and it is costing a bunch of money. But on the other hand, I mean, I think there's a lot of corruption that goes on and all that stuff too, food
Yeah,
stamps
I
and
agree.
everything else.
Well, I
But you
saw
can't
it.
let people go hungry in this country. You
I,
can't
s-
do that.
I saw it
And you can't let
firsthand.
people bleed to death. And you can't let people, don't care who they are, if somebody's lying on the street, you got to take care of them.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So it's just,
But I
and
remember Jimmy.
if we don't have enough money to do that, then we need to stop doing a few other things that we're doing.
I think what has to happen is there has to be some more checks and balances in that whole system, because I remember when I was a teenager, I was probably 17, 18 years old, and I was driving a truck, and I remember a gal trading in her food stamps and buying booze and all kinds of stuff and getting
Oh yeah.
cash back. And so that's not new. That whole discovery recently where they say, "Oh, look what's going on." It's been going on since
Oh,
I
for
was
as long as they've
18,
had
I
it.
mean 40, 50 years ago. So it's been, yeah, as long as they've had it, there's been a back door, right? To burn the money or get cash, get US dollars instead of
Yeah.
the money. And historically, I mean, we've had a lot of shutdowns. I mean, I don't know when I think 25, obviously 2018-19 was a 35-day shutdown. So we're 36. This is one of the longest shutdowns we've had. And it's
It's just
ongoing.
crazy.
So
It's just the whole thing. It's just it's and then Trump, he's got all the media pretty much, well, except for Fox.
mhm.
He's got all the rest. MSNBC was the number one network the other night on the
That's
election in New
crazy.
York, and
Yeah.
that's never happened before.
Yeah, that's
They
crazy.
had 3 million viewers, so they actually beat Fox in primetime cable news coverage. Uh, Newsom is getting more powerful. I mean,
How
the
how is that guy getting any more power? I don't understand. Is it his
his big
looks?
win out there, he got what he wanted, in redistricting. So they're going to
It's
gain 5
insane.
more seats in California. And I don't see how people can afford to live there, but
I
that's
don't
a whole
either.
other
I don't either. By the
with
way,
taxes and everything else that goes on there.
I just for fun, I just pulled up all the government shutdowns. So it's not that many, but 1980 Jimmy Carter for 1 day, 1981, 84, and 86 all Ronald Reagan shut down 1 day, and 4 days. 1990 George Bush 3 days. Bill Clinton shut down for a total of 27 days twice in 1995 and 96. So that one was pretty heavy. Barack Obama shut down for 16. I'm just saying who was president,
Yeah.
not their fault necessarily. Donald Trump 2018 and 19 for a total of 35 and 3, so 38. And then Donald Trump again for 2025. I don't see Biden on here at all for shutdown. That's
I
interesting.
guess he didn't.
Yeah, but it's been historically we've had a lot. But again, this is the longest shutdown we've had, and
'Cause it's just
900.
butt-headed. It's just butt-headed. It's on both sides.
Yeah.
And yes, you do have to do something. It's going to break us,
Mm-hmm.
because we still aren't taking care of the veterans right. But you, no one wants to. I don't know how. I mean, I think it's really Humpty Dumpty on a lot of this stuff. I don't know how you fix
That's a good way
some
to
of
put
this
it.
stuff,
I
and
mean,
I don't think anybody knows how. And then you had the first of this administration, you had the D.O.G.E people come in.
what happened to Doge? I mean,
And what
Doge.
happened to
I
Doge,
don't
and what
know.
happened to all that money they supposedly saved, and what happened to all that stuff? It
Right.
was all a shell game or what? I don't know.
Yeah, it says
So
they still exist, but you don't hear anything more about the Department of Government Efficiency, do you? You don't hear about that. It just
no, and I guess did we give that up, or did the Congress not want to do it, or
I don't know.
I don't. I mean, there's a lot of things we don't know, and then you've got, again, it's about optics. President Trump, and sometimes he's a bull in a china shop.
Okay, now listen to this. I don't know if this is right. You're talking about Doge. On December 2nd, Ramaswamy posted the most government projects should come with a clear expiration date. Musk replied before he left. Doge was to delete itself. Trump stated that the entity's work will conclude no later than July 4, 2026. But I haven't heard anything away from since he left.
Well, on the Trump and the bull in the china shop thing, he redecorated a lot of the White House stuff, and again, he's got all the media against him.
Yeah.
But I don't know that everybody really likes how he decorated the Oval Office. I guess it's his to do with, but it's kind of tacky. But tearing down the east wing of the White House, upset a lot of people because he didn't do it kind of the right way. But he couldn't. If he did it the right way, it wouldn't have gotten done. This way, it'll get done. So that's why a lot of people, including me, I like the fact that he's the cowboy and gets things done
Hmm.
because we're so wrapped up in paperwork and all commissions and just let's look at it. Pacific Palisades in California,
Yeah, the
they
fire
haven't
there.
done anything
With the
out there.
fire thing, they haven't done anything.
Done almost nothing. I think there's a couple of houses that are going through, but I
Mm.
mean it's pitiful.
Yeah, that
You
is
know,
pitiful.
that's where we are. We're stuck in the mud, disagreeing about this and that among the Democrats and the Republicans, and you just nothing gets done. So I
Hmm.
understand why Trump wants to get the football and run it himself. I understand that,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's a bridge too far.
Wow. Yeah.
There's Christians being killed in Nigeria. Sure, we need to straighten that out. We got drug people coming in by the shipload, into our ports. We should take care of that. There's all these things we should do, and then we're fighting with Canada and fighting with this and fighting with that, and it just seems. You remember, people were exhausted after Trump's last presidency. Remember, they said that was the Trump effect. They were just exhausted from all the stuff that was going on.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not.
fair. I mean,
It's
that's
just
fair.
he creates mayhem. That's
Well,
pretty much what he does, and that's kind of his method of operation. I get it.
yeah, I think he does, and I think he does it intentionally because I
He
think
does.
it's like you look at the shutdown right now, and he's playing hardball, right? He's not going to budge, and that's the way he negotiates. So if the left is playing hardball just as much as the right,
Right
then
now,
it's not going to move. And we're just going to sit here, and 900,000 displaced workers are going to not get checks
that's
for how
crazy.
long?
You
That's a
just
lot.
can't do
That's a
that.
lot.
So
Right. So somebody has
I
to.
think Trump, the optics of it, he's got to get on there and try to make it look somewhere where it can be a win-win for both sides of the fence.
Hmm.
So nobody looks like they lost their butt in this thing.
Yeah,
And
and
he
I
can
don't know
do
how you
that
do
because
that.
he's the president.
Yeah.
So he needs to work out a deal where the Republicans aren't upset and the Democrats, you're never going to please some of the people, but I think everybody's kind of looking for an off ramp at this thing.
Yeah.
Because again, most of those workers are better Democrats.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't show that in the stats, but yeah, it's possible. But I mean, you
Because they
you
live in
said it.
Northern Virginia and they voted, completely for this new Democratic governor and attorney general.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is just because people were angry. And in an off-year election like that, people just generally don't come at all and vote.
But they
But
did.
everybody was so irritated with the government shutdown, with not getting their SNAP, not doing this, and all the other things. There was great turnout for most of this
It's
stuff.
almost like the turnout for the presidential election last year or the year
Yeah,
before.
except for the
People,
vote for the blue
right? People were
side.
fed up, so it
So I
swayed
think
over
this is
here.
going to be a wake-up call, for the Republicans on this. And yes, they can, there's one of the options is to cancel the filibuster, and they can go in there with a majority and do all kinds of stuff at the Senate, get all his appointments in, do all these things.
Let me ask you a
But
question,
then
though,
when the
Jimmy.
Democrats get in charge, then they're going to be
It's
able
going
to
to
go
be the
there
other
and
way.
run roughshod over things.
Let me ask you a question. How far is too far? Right, the Democrats lock out the Republicans. They just say, "Hey, we're not going to give. This is what's going to happen. We're shutting down." Right, this is it. The Republicans on the other say, "Hey, we got to get some stuff done. You guys are tying our hands here. We can't do any of this stuff, so we're just going to go do it and get it done." Right, and
Yeah.
then they come back and say, "Well, look at they're running willy nilly." Yeah, but what was the alternative? Nothing gets done. Right, so it's almost like they put up this wall and said, "Hey, break through that."
Well,
See
that's
if
what
you can-
happened at the end of the Biden administration.
Yeah, that's
Nothing
true.
was done
That
in
is
the last
true.
2 years.
Yeah,
And
ridiculous.
because he was a lame duck, and well, he didn't want to be perceived as that, but he was.
Yeah, he totally
And
was.
Trump's going to be heading into the lame duck thing here pretty soon.
Yeah, you said 2 years, and he was in it. I mean, you
Yeah.
said he had 2 years to do it, so we're getting there.
But
We're almost
you just
there.
got a lot of stuff going on, and it's a lot of crazy stuff. And then the people in the media and everybody jump on him. He said that we're gonna test our nuclear system or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope we test it, but one understand we do it with computers.
Yeah.
We don't have to blow
It's a
up bombs.
simulation. Yeah.
Yeah, we do it somehow. We know that it works, but we do need to test the actual missiles now and again, and we do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what the other people are doing. So it's just that on the Democratic side, they cry wolf so often
Mm-hmm.
that it loses their credibility.
But-
And Trump creates all this crazy stuff over there all the time,
Yeah.
and it makes him lose credibility. So both sides lose credibility. I mean, here's morale plummets at National Security Agency after layoffs and cuts. I don't know what that's about, but that doesn't sound good.
Well, morale, yeah, that's not good.
And how can but when you I don't know.
I don't either.
It's
But you're talking about the missiles. I'm thinking to myself, how else do they expect you to test an engine except to run it? You don't.
yeah,
You got to run it. Are you that far deep in this rabbit hole that you can't understand that? I don't.
I
I
think
just
so.
don't get
I
it.
think a lot of people are. It's just it's what everybody said since the beginning. If Trump found a cure for cancer, people would be against it.
God,
And
which is
look
a
at the
shame.
side effects of all that kind of. Remember, that's what the Democratic leaders told everybody to do. Our job for the next 4 years is resist.
Right, which means nothing gets
And
done.
that's what Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and resist, resist, resist. And that's why we can't get anything done. I'm not going to work with anybody or try
Yeah,
to meet them halfway or
I wish they
try to
would.
adapt to something. We're just going to resist it.
Right, why,
So they
without.
filed a million lawsuits and
Yeah.
they've done all that stuff. And so you got,
And I point my finger at them. I do. I got to point it at them. I mean, if their slogan was negotiate, negotiate, concede, or give up, give and take, or something like that, okay, fine. That's great. But there are people that are just blinded. They can't even say,
no, they
well,
hate Trump so badly. And there's a lot of those.
yeah, and I'm not saying I'm in love with the guy, trust me, but I'm not stupid. And I'm not saying the people that don't, that don't agree are. I'm just saying you got to have some kind of middle ground. You cannot just put your head in the sand and say no matter what.
There were people that really, really hated Barack Obama. I know that.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
there are people that I don't think the hate was as hard for Biden, even though they were frustrated with him.
Yeah, yeah.
But the Trump derangement syndrome that people have is just they hate him, and it's just really, really, really bad, and they hate everything about it. And I get it. I mean, I remember in the '60s they hated John Kennedy in the South
Really? Huh.
because of the integration and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just
And it didn't
change.
matter
People
what he
don't
did.
like change.
That's true. That is true.
Generally. I mean, some people embrace it, but not a lot. Not everybody likes change,
Mm-hmm.
and it just depends if something you're doing is changing.
Right, exactly. Or if it's in your
That's,
favor,
that's
right?
where the key of that is.
Right, exactly.
And then this week, we also had that terrible plane crash
Oh God,
in
the
Louisville,
UPS, yeah.
and boy, that's probably one of the most photographed plane crashes in a long, long time. There have been some
Mm-hmm.
that have happened at airports and during air shows
Yeah.
and things, but this is the first one in a while
Yeah.
that we've seen, from 50 different angles because of people's Ring cameras and
Yeah, everybody's
security
got a
cameras
camera.
and
Yeah.
every other kind of camera that's
right.
there. I've seen every which way, and they figured out that the engine fell off the plane and the fire came from the detachment of the hydraulic lines and all those things, and it caught fire, and boom, there you go.
Yeah.
But
Scary.
it's scary, and these planes are old.
Mm-hmm.
And that one's from 1991, and that thing has been ridden hard.
Boy.
I'm sure it's been reconstructed,
Several
heavy
times.
maintenance on it,
Yeah.
a number of times. We know that plane spent the month of September and October in San Antonio at a heavy maintenance facility.
Mm.
And then, it runs every day, all day, going
Yeah.
somewhere.
Full,
And
loaded with stuff.
loaded with a lot of it. And in fact, UPS is the principal air component of the U.S. Postal Service.
I did not know that. Huh.
So a
Interesting.
lot of things that were destroyed on that plane were post office stuff going to Hawaii
So,
because that's where the plane was going. So people are finding mail burned up, with just the address saying Hilo, Hawaii, and
I'll be darned.
stuff like that because the thing just blew stuff all in the air.
All the crew members passed on that, Jimmy?
Well, a lot of yes, and
Okay.
then, but more of the deaths have been people burned on the ground.
Oh, gosh. I didn't even know
Because that jet fuel went all over an area that it was at least a couple of 100 yards.
And it was full.
And it went over places where there was an auto parts place and stuff like that. And there are people still missing.
Wow.
16 people are missing right now.
That's wild.
And they're trying to find them. But the fire was so hot and complete, that I think it ate up most of the plane. I don't think there was much left. Although I think they did get the black box.
Was just on takeoff, right? Just after takeoff?
It was right at, it was on fire as it was going down the runway.
Oh,
And then it lifted off just maybe 20 or 30 feet.
And
And
that
then
was
it listed to the left and
oof.
crashed. Terrible. And And, the air traffic system, I mean, people worried about that every day.
Yeah.
And people, there's just a lot of crazy. Here's a picture here. I can't believe this picture. A man groping the female president of Mexico amid rising political violence. It's not just us that are cuckoo. I mean, there's cuckoo people all over the place.
Thank goodness. I thought it was just us. I mean, I'm
No,
so
it's
glad.
not.
It's a relief. It is a relief.
There's a lot of craziness going on in the world.
Well, Jimmy, what do we do?
Even this one, Michigan Lake fish shrinking. Scientists left baffled.
Huh. Maybe it's
they don't
cold.
Know why the fishes
Maybe
are shrinking.
Is the water cold? Because that'll cause shrinkage, Jimmy.
It's a largemouth bass swimming in a Michigan inland lake. And they get smaller and smaller, especially the youngest and the oldest. So they don't know.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, people don't know a lot. That's what I guess we can leave things with is
people don't know
we don't know everything that's going on, and nor do we want to.
No, and I don't even know if I should say this, but thank God for AI because it'll know everything.
It does know everything so far. I mean, it's really been helpful to me, but I guess when you crank it up, it's going to get rid of. I don't know. It's going to make people's work quicker in certain areas, but I guess it's going to. I don't think we know all it can do.
I don't think we do either. And at least we got each other, Jimmy. Come on. I mean, really.
Yes.
There's some good people left. You know that. And, so we got each other. It's not all bad. But there's a lot of doom and gloom, that's for sure.
Well, I know what was good is that it's an escape thing. I loved the World Series this year. I watched Game 6 and 7. In the 18-inning game and all that.
Hold on a second.
I got so into the Dodgers and learning the names of all the players on the team.
Listen,
and I hadn't done that since I was a kid.
I do not like the Dodgers. I know that's not popular. A lot of people listening are going,
no, a lot of people don't.
It's
I love
my
them.
least
Ted
favorite
like
team.
them.
But I did not want Canada to win.
Yeah.
So I came back to the Dodgers. There shouldn't have even been a Game 7. Toronto should have won in Game 6. And the Dodgers came back, and then last night, I mean, what a game.
It was exciting, and I got so into it, I watched the next day on Monday, I watched the parade that went through town in Los Angeles, and they had 50-something thousand people. It was totally sold out at Dodger Stadium.
That's crazy.
On a Monday with no game. I mean, they were just there to celebrate, and so that town got a boost of energy from that.
And think of this. About 3 weeks ago, we had a show on what's happened to baseball. Do you remember that? We talked about
and we did. And I think baseball does have some problems. But, boy, that World Series did a lot for baseball.
I would agree. It was one of the best series I've ever seen.
At one point, it was up to 30 million people watching.
That's crazy.
And it settled out at 26 million. But that's a lot these days.
I think that's about what we got listening to this podcast. About 30, 40 million, maybe 50
something
million,
like that.
50 people. I don't know for sure.
Well,
by the way, help us out. If you have a friend out there that hasn't listened to this podcast, have them tune in. Check it out. It's pretty good, don't you think, Jimmy?
I think it's fine.
Until next
Wonderful.
week, when we do this all again, want to thank you for listening. And I want to point this out. I want to thank our sponsors. We have sponsors now. So thank you, whoever you are.